everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and I'm a full-time reseller. On today's video, it is my What Sold Wednesday video, so it will be for March 10th through the 16th. I did have sales on only 3 platforms: Poshmark, eBay, and Depop. Mercari, none. So we'll skip that one for the week. Looking at my notes, like I said, Mercari, nothing there. On Poshmark was a little bit better than the previous week. eBay, 10 sales, a couple of those were $40 and over, which is great. And then Depop, only 6, which is kind of low for me there. There were a lot of offers that people never paid for, or extremely lowball offers. That kind of seems to be the trend that I'm seeing here within the last couple of weeks on Depop. I feel like it's kind of like an ebb and flow where you'll get a whole bunch that are like really low offers or offers and then nobody pays, and then for a while it'll be good and people do pay their offers. So I don't know what is happening there. I did notice also, I heard someone talking about binding offers on Depop. My understanding is Depop does not have them as a binding offer because I think you only have to be like 13 to be on the app. And a lot of their clientele is younger, so that's kind of their way of having somebody that maybe doesn't have a debit card, a credit card on file, that they can send an offer and then ask their parents or whatever, like, hey, can I buy this? That's what I've heard to why they have that. I did hear that at one point they were going to switch it to binding offers, then that got canceled, then it was in a beta type thing, and now I saw a couple where it did get paid right away. Like, I accepted the offer and it said sold. Normally it has to go back to the person, then they must say like, yes, pay for it, or however that works. I've never sent an offer and then paid for it on Depop. I just don't really buy a lot there. So I don't know if that's something they're trying. I will say this was from like 2 weeks ago. This current week, I have not had any sales where that happened like that. So I don't know if it's only certain people that they're trying it with. I'm not sure. Okay, so we will get right into it, starting with Poshmark. First up on Poshmark, this was a Torrid and Betsy Johnson collab skirt, kind of like a ruched pencil type skirt with this floral print to it. It was a 2X, new with tags. I thought I would have got more for this. This has sat forever. There's always been a lot of attention, but somebody did finally get it for $23. This was the brand Koofandy. I think this is an Amazon brand, if I'm not mistaken. I got this at the bins. It was a metallic blazer. I originally thought somebody might get this for New Year's Eve, but then when someone bought it in this week, I thought maybe prom. So maybe they're wearing this to prom. This was an extra large. There was a little bit of, I don't want to say damage, but you could tell that it had been folded, and I think that metallic kind of got creased, but I did put that in the listing. A pair of Miss Me jeans. These were low-rise, boot cut, size 27. Not a whole bunch of bling on the butt, just kind of a couple sparkly gems and some studs. I would say from my knowledge of selling Miss Me, the more bling, the better. The crosses, the angel wings, those seem to be ones that you can get a little bit more money for. These did end up going for my full asking price of $35. This Free People top I've had for quite a while. It was picked up at the bins. It did have a couple spots of discoloration I was unable to get out. I did put that in the listing. This one was a size large. That's why I did pick it up, because you don't always find Free People in, anything but small or extra small. This one took a while to sell, and it did finally go for $25. Next up is a pair of Ed Hardy jean shorts. These came from Ross. I've been saying that a couple times now in my What Sold videos. I did get some really good items there before their big clearance event. I think I only paid like $4 for these. Obviously, new with tags, they were a size 32. They weren't old, they were modern Ed Hardy, but I think that is really kind of coming back, that style, and these did go for $28. This was a Harry Potter backpack that I picked up at Walmart. I have been trying to stay away from Walmart just for personal reasons and how they run their business, but I will pop in every once in a while to look for their clearance for items to sell. Kind of the way that our Walmart does their clearance, I feel like they keep marking it down, and then at some point they're just like, okay, we're done with it, and they will just throw all the stuff in carts or put them on big racks and then put them right when you walk in and just have $1 on it because they just want it gone. So I found some pretty good deals that way. I did only get one Hogwarts backpack and then 2 Beetlejuice backpacks. Those are not getting much attention. I don't know. I don't know if they will towards Halloween or if I kind of missed that mark there because, you know, it was a big resurgence of Beetlejuice when the new Beetlejuice movie came out. So we'll see what happens during Halloween. This backpack has paid for all of the backpacks I got. I only got 3. They were only $1 each. So I'm not going to be too concerned. I could always throw those backpacks in a rummage sale. So this one did end up going for $16. This is from the brand DJ Nights by Laura something. I can't quite read the tag. This was a prom style dress from the Y2K era. You could definitely tell just based on that blue. That blue is very Y2K. It had some beading. The back was really pretty. It was like open in the back, kind of a halter style, size 3-4. This one was picked up at the bins, I believe. I picked up quite a few Y2K prom dresses this year just to kind of see how it would go. Quite a few have gone, which is great because this style of dress is pretty unique to prom. I guess you're not really wearing this to weddings or special occasions. So I try not to do too many because I don't want to get stuck with them because they're probably going to sit for a year. And then you also don't know if that's going to be popular in a year either. This one did end up going for $36. This was an Old Navy wide leg like jumper. This was a size extra, extra large in this really pretty Kelly green. This was picked up at the bins and it did go for $18. This was a really cool top I got at the bins. The brand was Casual Corner. I've never heard of it. It was kind of like a tie-dye painted shirt. It did look like it was hand painted. I don't know if it was or not. I did put that in the listing though, that it looked that way. It was a button front, size 6, so a little bit smaller, and it did go for $18. This one came in that Rag House lot that I got. This sold for $13, even though it had pretty bad like pit stains. I tried my best to get them out. I know a lot of people would probably be like, why did you even list it? Because I knew that someone would get it for this style. It has the exposed seams kind of in the front. It almost looks like it's inside out. That is becoming popular. It has that grungy painting type look. It was a size medium and I still got $13 for it. I think my average cost of goods for those items was either like under $1 or close to $1. That's why I'm letting a lot of them go from like 10 to 15, just because some of them did have quite a bit of wear, but I thought, you know, I would just see, and this one did go. It did have quite a bit of attention too on Depop. Next is Chico's. I'm kind of slowing down with Chico's and only getting certain items. Definitely extra large and over, but not too large, if that makes sense. I think kind of staying like extra large to 1X, maybe 2X. And if it's new with tags and it's got to have something going for it, it can't just be like, you know, just like a plain sweater, even though this kind of is. This one was linen, so I could use a couple more of those like beachier coastal type keywords that maybe someone that is not looking for Chico's would maybe buy this. And Chico's might end up being another brand where I'm going to start lotting things together in hopes to move them. This is Ivy Park. I've had this for quite a while. This is, I think Beyonce is still part of this brand. I'm not 100% sure. I think this brand kind of had a little bit more popularity like 2 to 3 years ago, maybe. This was picked up at the bins. I thought I would give it a shot. It was just kind of a plain hooded sweatshirt with the big spell out in the front, a size medium. It was in excellent condition. So I thought I would try it, and it did go for $18. This was a pair of overalls from Sundance in this really pretty soft pink, almost coral color. It did sit for a while, but I think I got these in, when did I get these? Maybe towards the end of summer. There was a lot of interest, but no one wanted to pay kind of what I was looking for. I think that Sundance is another one of those brands where I need to remember, like, it's not moving for as much as it used to, and I really kind of have to keep that in the back of my mind. I just didn't want to take much lower than 30 because you don't find overalls, or I personally don't, in Sundance very often. So these did end up going for $30. So now we are going to eBay since there were no Mercari sales. This was picked up in a mystery box from one of the Amazon return store people. I don't know that I would do those again. I have made money on all the boxes, but it's really not stuff that I'm interested in listing. But maybe I should, because it's kind of stuff that will always move, like this. This is a Kohler like basket strainer for a sink. Not really kind of in what I'm normally selling, but once again, this kind of opens up to a bigger clientele. It's not something that needs to fit a body, you know what I mean? It just needs to fit that person's sink. So this one ended up going for $28.04. That box that I got this in, I think was only $20 to begin with, and I sold quite a few items in there, including, what was that? It was like denture glue. Is it called glue? Whatever you use to like stick it to your gums. I sold quite a few of those, I think for around $30. So definitely, you know, that is something I am looking into if I can find items for a decent price. This was a Union Bay purse. It was faux leather. It had some studs on it, some heart studs on it, crossbody. This was picked up at the bins. This had a lot of attention and a lot of offers on Depop that no one paid for, and somebody finally got it for $15.30. This is Faded Glory. This was a larger size, 22W to 24W. There was a little bit of damage, I think, in the beading. Like a couple small spots where beads were missing. You couldn't really tell unless you kind of pointed it out. This one, I believe, came from the bins, and it did go for $18. This statue came from my grandma's stuff. I did a video on that quite a while ago now, where my parents are going through their stuff in their house. They have stuff from their parents that have just kind of been sitting in totes. We have decided that, you know, whatever is sentimental to us, we are going to keep, and whatever, you know, isn't, I will sell, because it will find a better home than just sitting in a box, you know, in the basement somewhere. This was, let me see what this thing is called. It was a Jesus Infant of Prague religious statue. I don't know much about it. I had to Google Lens it and really kind of look. There were quite a few different variations of this. Like I said, I don't know much about this at all, but it did end up going for $41.64. So not bad for a little statue ceramic type thing that was sitting in a box. J. Peterman, this brand I do not find often, but whenever I do, it always sells on eBay. I don't know why that is, but it does. This was a size extra large. It was a silk blend, but it felt like velvet in this really pretty like royal purple. It had pockets. It was a maxi size dress, and this one did go for $40.80. That is definitely a brand to look into if you find it. I would maybe even pay up for it depending on the style. Look up comps. This brand has always sold for more than $40 for me in dresses. I don't know that I've found anything other than dresses, but definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. So this item I do have some issues with. This was a Zara dress. It was new with tags. They did end up getting it for $23.80. It was sent out. I do offer returns on all of my items, but the buyer has to pay for return shipping. I got a return notice for this item. They put the return in as that the description or the photos did not match. So when that happens, it's a forced return. I have to pay for the shipping. And then underneath that, it says like comments, and she put in too small. And then for the photo, she just took a picture of the dress. So I'm like, okay, something is not right here. Because when you return something, there's like this whole list of things you can pick, and one of them is item doesn't fit. So I sent her a message and said, hey, you know, just wondering what's going on here because you used that the description doesn't match. I have clear photos. I have photos of the tags. I have measurements. And you also put in there that it just doesn't fit you. So she said that that was her only option, which I do not believe that that is true. And she said, like, you know, if you send me something, I can make sure that you get rated really well. Well, that's not going to help me in this circumstance. And I don't even think you can get rated on eBay if you put in a return. So I sent a message to eBay on Facebook. I've heard that that is the quickest way to get a hold of someone to ask them. And I sent them screenshots of everything that she said she didn't mean to put that one, you know, that was her only option, blah, blah, blah. I put all of that in there and I said, you know, what can I do here? Can she go back and like change it? Can you go in and change it? Because now this is going to be a ding on my account as item not described, and I have to pay the shipping when she made the mistake, or I don't want to say that she was abusing the system and put it in that way because she doesn't want to pay for the shipping, which I don't know. It could go either way. And their response pretty much was, you know, your account is in good standing, so this won't hurt it that bad. And one option you could do is ask her to not use the prepaid label and to just go get her own label and pay the shipping. I'm like, there's no way she's going to do that. So I don't understand in how 2025 in their app, in their system, eBay can't go in there and change it from the reason she picked to a different reason. Like, that seems crazy to me. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is when I do get the item back, I'm going to see what my options are. I've never had this happen before where it was put in as item not described. So I'm going to see if there's any way that I can deduct some of the refund for the shipping. I don't think I can. And then I'll see if there's a way that I can like counter it by saying that she did this incorrectly. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what my options are. If anyone has had this happen to them, let me know. I mean, I'll find out once I get it back. Next up is a pair of Sam Edelman sandals. These were new with the box. These also came from one of those Amazon return stores. I have noticed that Amazon is carrying quite a few bigger brand names, and my understanding is these Amazon return places are kind of like when you go to Kohl's or UPS, if you're returning something, I think a lot of these brands are having it just be, put in one big pallet and then those pallets get sold off. That's how I understand that a lot of this gets there. I'm sure there are some brands that do actually want the items back to them. But for the most part, I think it just costs more for them to have them keep getting shipped there and back. So I have been finding some decent brands at those places. This one was actually still there when it was $2 day. So this went through all the different days of people looking at these shoes that were still in the box. I couldn't believe it. And they were a decent size, a size 7. So these did end up going for $46.75. This was a pair of glasses from my parents' bar. I've been cleaning that out. These, they were like ladies that had clothing on, and then when the glass got cold, the clothing would kind of disappear. It wasn't really working that way anymore because you can kind of see from these photos, these glasses are very old, from the 40s, and it just doesn't work anymore, and they're missing most of the clothing anyways. It did come in a set of 5 originally. The other 2 glasses that they had they were too far gone, so I only did these 3, and I did end up getting $11.89. So not bad for another thing that was just sitting in my parents' basement. They are not in great condition, and someone did get them for, over $11. These are a pair of St. John's Bay pull-on pants. I got these when JCPenney's was having a clearance event. These were a size 3X, new with tags, linen pants. Linen pants can sell, I think, in almost any brand, to be honest, especially if they are in good condition, if they're new with tags, if they are maybe a little bit bigger of a size, a good colorway. These did end up going for $18.70. I think I only paid like $2 or $3 for them, so not bad. Next up is a CJ Banks maxi skirt. This is probably one of my best-selling brands in skirts. They did a lot of really good prints and colors in the 90s to 2000s. This kind of had like a boho, almost Aztec look to it. It had floral. It had kind of a geometric shape thing going, tiered. This was a 1X, and this one did go for $17.60. Okay, so now on to Depop. This was a Fox Racing shirt. It had the long sleeve attached to the short sleeve. That is perfect. These colors here are very MySpace with that black and hot pink. Even better, this was a size medium. I think I got this at an actual thrift store for only a couple dollars. A lot of attention on this on all different platforms, and it did end up going for $24. Next up is Simply Vera Wang. I've been kind of getting a couple pieces from this brand. It's sold at Kohl's, or it was. She did kind of some cool stuff in the early 2000s where it was kind of like this gothic witchy type look. It's always been pretty like minimalist with very minimal colors. This one was semi-sheer. It had like a raw frayed edge, long sleeve, size large. This was picked up at the bins, and it did go for $18. This was a really fun Y2K top. It was strapless. It had this like tan tropical print, floral print to it with some sparkly beading on it. This was kind of giving like Destiny's Child, Britney Spears type vibe, and this one did go for $19. This was another great top. This was from Vanity. It was black. It had lace. It had sequin. It had like an asymmetrical type hemline to it, very witchy, very grunge, and this one did go for $24. So a vanity tank top that probably was like, I don't know, $16 in the early 2000s, I picked up at the bins and got $24. So definitely keep your eye out for these type of tops. This has definitely been one of my biggest sellers, especially on Depop. This one was an apartment 9, and I wasn't sure about it just based on kind of that cinched elastic waist hemline there. I don't know if that is quite in, but I have sold a couple shirts like that. This definitely kind of has that baby doll feel to it with those little cap sleeves. This one did go for $16. And then the last item was this vintage Style & Co. 90s dress. This kind of had like a denim type feel to it. It was brown. It had like a tan floral all over print maxi. And what size was this? 20W, and this one did go for $20. So this week had been a little bit slower. This was still kind of in the spring break realm, I think. The next week got a little bit better, so I'm hoping that will continue to go up. As far as listing and everything goes, that is the same for me. I'm still working on increasing the number of listings that I do have. I think I'm close to like 1,600, 1,700. I kind of want to be around maybe 18. I feel like 2,000 is too many. I don't know. We'll have to see based on how it's starting to look in my inventory room. I don't have much more space to put things. I'm being pretty creative on finding new places to put bins. I do keep everything in my house, so I'm trying to keep it within 3 rooms, I guess, because I don't want it to just be all over. I think I'm going to be running some sales on Depop this coming like Thursday, Friday on Y2K type tops. I did hear someone say that they were mainly talking about men, so I don't know so much about women's, that their thought was the Y2K trend was going to start kind of dwindling down. I don't know what is going to be new. They were mainly talking about kind of like the Jesse Pinkman type tops, the Volcom tops, the Fox Racing, Billabong, that kind of look. But also, I feel like people are still going to buy it. It might not be moving as quickly. So I'm definitely interested in what they think is going to be next. I feel like the way that the trends are moving, they're moving so quickly, like through the decades, that we're almost to modern day. One thing that I do think might end up becoming popular again is kind of, going with the timeline that we're in, is like the 2010s to 2016s, where it was kind of like business casual. I do feel like fashion kind of follows politics sometimes, and right now everything is pretty conservative. You've seen that with the trad wife movement, where not everybody's wearing that kind of stuff, but it's definitely, things are kind of moving a little bit more towards that. So I'm wondering if like buttoned-up shirts are going to be big again. Even if they're kind of more like that preppier look that Abercrombie used to have, or American Eagle, and like pea coats maybe will be back in, and just kind of like a really hard swing from the athletic wear, the grunge stuff, to more like tailored, preppy, old money. So I don't know, that's just kind of what I'm thinking might happen. We'll see. There's obviously always going to be people that are wearing a little bit of everything. Not everyone's going to be wearing the same things. I'm talking about kind of the more trends. I think that will be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more modest. That is just my thought process. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are thinking. Have you seen anything yet that kind of is making you think one way or the other? And as always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!